Good morning, dear children. Welcome back to our next session, History. Before we proceed, let's take a look of all these points and revise it once again. Here we have our previous slides wherein we discuss about what, and under this title of what we have discussed about food, clothes and house. The meaning of the history it comes under the title of what, or we can say that we try to understand these elements like food, clothes, house under the concept of history. What kind of food they ate, what kind of houses they had, what kind of clothes they wore. Here they means the ancient people that I am talking about. In our next slide, you can see under the title of where, we have covered these points: food gathering, hunters, animal rearing, travel, wars, kingdoms. Here, early people that they started living near the banks of river to get a water source for their agriculture production. In later period, we found that some evidences about their farming work near Suleiman and Kirthar hills in northwest part of India. They started rearing animals, as well as in this way how things changed over a period of time. Children, before we proceed to our explanation, let me clear one thing. It is said that history is studied geographically and the geography is studied historically. What does it mean? In geography, generally we talk about landforms, various continents, geographical condition, how people live and landforms, etc. Now here the question arises, how geography is related to history? So what is history? Is there any connection between geography and history? History talks about major trading centers, places where wars were fought, major centers of attraction, deserted areas, fertile regions, etc. So children, I think this statement which I quoted above, that history is related to geography or the geography is related to history, I think it is clear to you all. Now, today we are going to see the history of a country why we call India or Bharat. I'm going to talk about a country, India. Now we come to know today's, this is what next topic we have, the names of land. Here we will study about the names of a country, India. There are two names, India and Bharat. So let's check the history behind it. Two of the words we often use for a country are India and Bharat. The word India comes from Indus, called Sindhu. Already we have seen in this map that the longest river, Indus. The Iranians and the Greeks who came through this northwest about 2500 years ago and were familiar with the Indus, called it Hindos or Indos. And that the land to the east of this river was called India, and they have decided that this particular land which is there at the eastern part of the Indus river is called India. The name Bharata was used for a group of people who lived in the northwest part and also mentioned in the Rig Veda. So this is what the history of these two names which we are using for our country, that is Bharat and India. Now the next question, when we talked about what, where, then the next question comes about how. What are the ways to find out about our past? Were there any sources through which we studied about our past? The answer is yes, manuscripts, inscriptions. So what does it mean? The sources are generally, they use these two kind of books that time in those eras, like manuscripts, inscriptions. The manuscripts means written material, handwritten material. It pronounced in this way, menu. It means handwritten. Hence, this word manuscript, manuscripts, that is handwritten material. And these manuscripts generally, we have seen that we find manuscripts on soft papers. It is a palm leaf, the paper kind of thing we can see here. You can see this is the original specimen which is kept there in the museum in Pune. We can see here this palm leaf. This we have a birch bark also. These are our original specimen are kept in the museum in Pune. You can see those original manuscripts kept in the museum. This is the actual picture of manuscripts. And generally this manuscripts written in these languages: Sanskrit, Prakrit, and Tamil. Now the next source through which we came to know about a history is inscriptions. It means writings on hard surface. It is some kind of language engraved on a stone with chisel and hammer. This particular inscription is in Greek language. You can find it is in Afghanistan and nearby area. Okay, here I'll read about our inscription. We can also study inscriptions. There are writings on relatively hard surfaces such as stone or metal. Sometimes kings got their orders inscribed on that people could see, read and obey them. There are other kinds of inscriptions as well, where men and women recorded what they did. For example, kings often kept records of victories in battle. There were many other things that were made and used in this past. Those who study these objects are called archaeologists. So I hope the meaning of this archaeologist is clear. Those who study all these materials to know about this past, we call them archaeologists. They study the remains of buildings made of stone and bricks, paintings, sculpture. They also explore and excavate. By this, excavate means to dig under the surface of earth to find tools, weapons, pots, pans, ornaments, coins, etc. Some of these objects may be made of stone, of others bone, baked clay or metal. Then these few materials are imperishable. Archaeologists also look for bones for animals, birds, fish, bones of animals, birds, fish, to find out what people ate in the past. So plants remains survive for more rarely. If seeds of grains, pieces of wood have been burnt, they survive in a charred form. So this is what about the archaeologists they have given. They also look for clayware, metalware. Here you can see this picture of this pottery. Here you can see the pictures of these coins. That time, in those eras, they were using such type of coins, rectangular and square shaped coins. Nowadays we are using circular coins. The conclusion is that with the help of these sources, it becomes very easy for archaeologists to know about the past, to know about their lifestyle. These coins, with the help of this pottery and this coins, it becomes very easy to know that they have this knowledge about commerce, trading, or they have this knowledge about this trading or this export and import. Through these pictures of pottery, we can also say that they used to have skilled craftsmen with skills. So children, these are all the sources, and with the help of these sources, it becomes very easy to study about past. Now, here I'll read this point that the historians, that scholars who studied the past, often use the word source to refer to the information found from manuscripts, inscriptions, and archaeology. Once sources are found, learning about the past becomes an adventure. as we reconstruct it bit by bit. So historians and archaeologists are like detectives. Yes, we can tell them detectives who use all these sources like clues to find out about our past. Now the next point is, what do dates mean? If someone asks me what is the date today, I will simply say that yes, today's date is 19th May 2020. It includes date, a month, and a year. But when the archaeologists find all these things, they are not sure about the particular month or a date, but precisely or not precisely, nearby or approximately, they can say which year. Generally, they use these words BC or AD. So, what is the full form of this BC, AD, BCE, and CE? So, BC means before Christ, the period of before Christ, and AD means Anno Domini. If I say 500 BC, it means 500 years before Christ. Similarly, if I write 500 BC and 500 AD, there is approximately 1000 years in between. And to avoid this confusion, nowadays generally we use a common term, that is CE, Common Era. Now here they have given information about dates. Before that, I would like to read this paragraph. Beside, there is another kind of difference that we know about the great deal about kings and battles that they fought, because they kept records of their victories. Okay, so that time only kings that they used to keep records about their victories, but it's not possible for ordinary people to keep records, like fishing folk, gatherers, farmers, herders. They didn't keep records of what they did. While archaeology helps us to find about their lives, there is much that remain unknown. So that is what always I'm telling you, dear children, that you please note down, keep records. So that is very important to recollect all these things. It was the same thing that happened with the archaeologist also. Whatever the records that they got, it becomes very easy for them to study about the past. But still, there are so many things that they didn't discover, and they didn't get these things about common people. Not possible for them to know more about ordinary people and their lifestyle. So here we have seen the concept of this dates. I'll repeat it once again. BC, AD, BCE, and CE. BC means the before Christ, the period of before Christ, and AD means Anno Domini. Here I'll read this information. If somebody asks you the date, you will probably mention the day, month, and year. These years are counted from the date generally assigned to the birth of Jesus Christ, the founder of Christianity. So 2000 means 2000 years after the birth of Christ. That's why we call it BC, before Christ. All dates before the birth of Christ are counted backwards and usually have the letters BC. In this book, we will refer the dates going back from the present using 2000 as a starting point. Now next we have the last section, that is elsewhere. Children, already I have told you about this section when I have introduced about our book. That time I have explained you that after every chapter you will have one section wherein you will get new information about our history. So here they have given about decipherment. So what does it mean? It pronounced in this way, decipherment. Decipherment, decipher. It means coding from one language to another. It's not translation, remember. It's not the translation, but understanding with the help of symbols. You can see symbols there and the letters written just below of these symbols. For example, there is a picture of lion. Can you see this picture of lion? Just below of this picture, they have given letter L. In this way, they were decoding, just trying to understand what exactly they had. So here I'll read this information that they have given. We have seen that the inscriptions are described on hard surfaces. Many of them were inscribed several hundred years ago. All inscriptions contain both scripts and languages. Languages which were used as well as scripts have changed over time. So how do scholars understand what was inscribed? This can be done through a process that known as decipherment. One of the most famous stories of decipherment that comes from Egypt, a country in North Africa. Rosetta is a town on the north coast of Egypt, and here an inscribed stone was found, which contained inscription in three different languages and scripts. Scholars who could read Greek figured out that the names of kings and queens were enclosed in a little frame called cartouche. Then they placed this Greek and the Egyptian signs side by side and identified the sound for which the Egyptian letters stood. As you can see that the lion stood for L and a bird for A. Once they knew what the letters stood for, they could read other inscriptions as well. So here at the end, they have given keywords wherein they have given few words like traveling, manuscripts, inscription, archaeology, historian, source, and the last word just now I have explained you, that is decipherment. So children, let's take a quick look of all these points once again. We started with the history of a name, India and Bharat. Then we have seen the sources through which we studied about the past, like manuscripts, handwritten material, which we found in Sanskrit, Prakrit and Tamil. Then second source, that inscriptions, that is writing on hard surface. Then we have seen about pottery, coins, through which we came to know about their pottery, about their craftsmen. Then the next point we have seen about dates, how we fixed dates, what is the meaning of BC, AD. And the last point today we have seen about decipherment. Children, there is exercise given at the end of this chapter. I'll give you all these answers in PDF. So let's check your understanding. Here I have written few extra questions for you. Just pause your video. The first question is, name two words we often use for a country. Yes, these words are India and Bharat. Second question, which languages were used for writing manuscripts? Just now I have explained you. Sanskrit, Prakrit and Tamil languages were used for writing manuscripts. Third question is, name the things that archaeologists found during excavation. They found tools, pots, weapons, pans, coins, ornaments during excavation. Then fourth question is, what do scripts consist of? Scripts generally consist of letters and signs because language was not developed that time. Then fifth question, okay, it's repeated. Let's move on to the next question. Sixth, why do you think ordinary men and women did not generally keep records of what they did? The ordinary men and women did not generally keep records because they did not know the art of writing in the beginning. Only at that time the kings were keeping records of their victories. The last question is, make a list of all objects that the archaeologists found. archaeologists find, like inscriptions, ornaments, weapons, remains of buildings, bones, paintings, sculptures, coins, tools, etc. There are few questions